The World Cup has been, the World Cup has gone. That means we are now in January and we are in the transfer window. Let's see whether we can improve this squad, shall we? How are we doing, everyone? Welcome to this Football Manager 2023 beta save with Chelsea. I'm Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video where we're going to be playing some football matches. Of course we are. What a stupid thing to say. Against Manchester City and against Leicester. And if you're excited to see those games, please do leave a like on the video for me. And subscribe so you never miss any of the lovely Football Manager content that is to come in the future from this face right here. Since you were last with us, we've been pretty good. We have definitely done well since the World Cup has ended. But we have also had a couple of wobbles as well. Some of them not necessarily in results, but in just performances. So, take you back to the end of the season before we got to the break for the World Cup. So, obviously, you saw us against United and Tottenham. We then played a few friendlies just to get things going. Got battered by Monaco in one of them. This was actually Azpilicueta's testimonial. I realised he was due one. Thought, why not? I tried to get one of his former clubs. None of them wanted to turn up. So, sodden. We went with Monaco instead. When we came back, Fleetwood was a really scary one because we battered them for the first 20 minutes and then we just switched off. They got 3 goals back after having a man sent off. They scored one, got a man sent off, then second half just were looking like they were going to come back and get a draw. They didn't. We went through. We breathed a sigh of relief. We then settled down a little bit with a win against Villa. Bournemouth was another weird one. They got a goal and we just really... Well, they scored first, actually. I mean, it's so long ago since I played this. They scored first. We really had to get back into that one. But then we went and beat Crystal Palace 6-1. That was lovely. I really enjoyed that one. We then beat Derby 7-3. Which felt like it was going to be the Fleetwood game, but we just turned up the pressure in the end. 7-3 is a very, very respectable score. We then beat Man City 3-0 in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. Chef's kiss. Very happy with that. And then we got battered 3-1 by Liverpool in the league. Less happy with that, if I'm honest. But then we've just beat Brighton 2-1. Again, a bit of a struggle. Trossard did equalise for them, but Asensio put us back ahead almost immediately afterwards, which leaves us going into Man City in the Premier League, second in the table. Man City are top, so this is a proper top-of-the-table clash. Liverpool have dropped off a little bit, but this is the game that we'll see who has the advantage going into the next stage of the season. I've got a feeling I know who it's going to be. It's probably not going to be us. In terms of transfers, we've made a handful of sales, one big one, and then we've made one signing as well. So, in terms of sales, we'll look at those first, if the game wants to load properly. Minor spoiler there. The major sale that we made was Mateo Kovacic. We're not playing with a playmaker at the moment. And look, I'll be honest with you, this was a bit of a panic sale. We wanted to just get some money in because we needed to bring someone else in. I'll show you who we needed to bring in a moment because there was a transfer that we absolutely needed to make. And there's one that we're going to need to make for next season as well. But we've sold him for well below his value. No one wanted to pay more than that. And PSG were the only team who were actually offering actively. So I just thought, you know what? It gets money in that we can do stuff with. Let's just get him off the books. We got his wages off the books as well. He's gone to PSG. Hopefully he has a lovely time there. I'm sure he will. But he's out. He's gone. We weren't using him. He was a rotation player at best. And then we also... Oh, God, I forgot about that. And then we also had a couple of other players for decent money as well. Ian Maatsen has gone to Fenerbahce. We called him back off of his loan from... I think it was Burnley, was it? Yes, it was Burnley. Called him back from his loan there. We sold him for, what was it, £9 million? Then we sold Charlie Webster for £3.8 million as well. And Harvey Vale has gone to Manchester United for £10 million as well. Players who are never going to be good enough, who are never going to develop to the players that are going to do something in our team. It just made sense to get rid of them. And then we went and signed Eric Garcia from Barcelona. Now, I know what you're thinking, Stu, why'd you go and sign a centre-back? You've got 4 very, very good centre-backs. You're absolutely right. I have got 4 very good centre-backs. But one of them's injured for up to 2 months. We got Mason Mount back, who's playing very well, by the way, and then lost Wesley Fofana, as in our only properly competent defender, who even then has his own moments. So we brought him in. He's come in as our rotation cover central defender, so a guy who's going to rotate with Fofana in this spot. We do need another central defender, though. Not necessarily right now, but for next season. Because Thiago Silva is leaving us. He's leaving on a free. He's going to Sepp. I don't know who that is. Until I get a real name fix whacked on this bad boy, which I'm not going to do until we get to the full game. I don't know who that is. But Thiago Silva's going to be leaving, so we do need someone to come in as another cover defender. Obviously, we've got Koulibaly at the moment, who's there. So next season we are going to need at least another defender. But if we can get someone in now, we will, because we actually do have around £34 million in the transfer kitty, which is why you saw this. Alessandro Bastoni, we've made an offer for him. It's a second offer for him. Inter are considering it, but I don't know whether we're going to get him. I would very much like to get him. I've never used him on FM. I know he's a beast to play against, and I think he'd come in as a very, very good player. He likes to play on the left as well, which is where the spot is for him, and he would come in, I think, as our best defender. Him and Fofana at the back. That's a spicy meatball. But enough of all of that nonsense. It's time for the game against Manchester City, and this is the 11 we're going to be taking in. It's Arrizabalaga. I don't know why I said his surname then. I said it wrong as well. It's Kepa in goal, Di Lorenzo, Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva and Cucurella in defence, Kante, Havertz and Mount in the midfield, with Asensio, Pulisic and Depay up front. We have got Kepa in because Edouard Mendy has made a few sloppy mistakes recently, and I'm not forgiving it. I'm starting more and more to think that if we don't get Bastoni in this window, we might look at a goalkeeper instead, because he's actually frustrating me. Annoyingly, all the goalkeepers I've looked at so far are actually better than Mendy, so that is something I do need to point out. But that is the 11. I don't think I've done opposition instructions. I have now. Let's go into the game and let's see what happens, shall we? We need to give a squad number to Eric Garcia. That's a fair point. Well, what number do we want to give? He's not having a number 8. I'll tell you that right now. We'll give him the number 22. There we go. That feels like a fitting number. We're not starting him today. He's going to be on the bench. Azpilicueta gets the nod in that cover defender role. Azpilicueta, to be fair, when we've needed him, he's been reliable, if not spectacular. He's done a job, but yeah. And I should say as well, you probably think to yourself, well, what about Trevor Chalobah? Trevor Chalobah hasn't really impressed me in defence, but he's actually a better defensive midfielder. So actually, in getting rid of Kovacic, we've actually made room for Trevor Chalobah as a midfielder, so he can play in that half-back role that N'Golo Kante is playing in. So I'm not too unhappy with the idea that we've lost Kovacic and instead we've effectively gained a central midfielder in Memphis Depay has just gone and scored. We've gained a central midfielder by losing a central defender. But the problem is we then need to replace Trevor Chalobah, which is kind of what is Eric Garcia's purpose. He's kind of replaced his spot in the squad. So if you think about it like that, it does make sense. But then another defender will be needed for when Thiago Silva leads. Memphis Depay is a frustrating fish because he's a really, really good striker. He looks great, but every now and then he just does a bit of a silly, and it does infuriate me just a little bit. So I'm just putting it out there. He does infuriate me because sometimes he just does not show up, and then sometimes he only shows up off the bench. I don't really know what to do with him. Oh, James Justin. He made a mistake, but he recovered. I'll tell you what. Kai Havertz gets it to Asensio. That should be a penalty, but Asensio scores anyway. I will say, I do like the fact that defenders have more of a chance of recovering from their mistakes in this game. I have enjoyed it. It's also infuriated me at times as well. But it's nice to see that James Justin, I mean, the moment before that, he recovered well. But then Kai Havertz goes and steals his lunch money, which is delightful to see. And he goes and makes it 2-0 with Marco Asensio putting it in. Kai Havertz should have really had a penalty, but didn't need it in the end because we got it from open play. Depay and Asensio. I tell you what, Asensio is close to being our signing of the season. He has been spectacular for us. He only scored the 4 goals, but assist-wise, he's been an absolute machine. You watch, he'll go and prove it again here. He's going to whip it in. Azpilicueta or Thiago Silva are going to try and get on it. Unfortunately, neither of them are that tall. That's the only thing I will say about Eric Garcia as a signing. I like my defenders usually to be quite tall. It's an unusual thing for me to sign a central defender who's below 6'1". Eric Garcia is 6 foot. I mean, our backline today is not a tall backline. I'm a little bit surprised that Erling Haaland hasn't actually utterly rattled them yet, because both of them, I mean, I think Azpilicueta, he's 5'11", I think. Thiago Silva, I'm pretty sure is 6 foot, although he's got a good jumping reach, so it's not like he can't play as a decent defender just because he's short. He has actually got a little bit of ability to do well in the air, but Azpilicueta, not so much. It surprises me against a striker like Erling Haaland that we haven't dominated them as much. They haven't dominated us as much, and there you go, Erling Haaland's proving the point, but he just blasts it at the side netting, probably because he's incredibly frustrated. And I don't blame him to be frustrated, to be honest with you. I would imagine he would be thinking he's doing a lot better in this game. Right, Di Lorenzo into Kante. Kante now over to Mason Mount. Mason Mount out to Pulisic. Memphis Depay now, looking for options. Gets it into Asensio. Is Asensio going to get another goal? He does. Ederson with an absolutely atrocious attempt at a save, but he is going to get checked for something. I'm not too sure what. I will say as well, Pulisic has turned up in some of the games. He's not been... I mean, it's been awarded because I don't understand what they were looking at there, but Pulisic has showed up this season. He not great every game, but at the moment, I prefer him to Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling is the player who really needs to pull his socks up and do a better job. Because at the moment, he's just... I mean, he's just shocking. If I'm being honest, he's just absolutely shocking. It's a wonderful goal for Marco Asensio. 2 goals for him. Again, I know I've already said it once. I'll say it again. At the moment, in terms of players that I've brought in, signing of the season. He's been absolutely superb. Really, really happy with the work that he has done. And to be fair, Memphis Depay, I've kind of slagged him off a little bit. Maybe not necessarily as much on camera as I have in my own spare time. He is a very good striker who just every now and then does inexplicable things that just don't make sense. Bernardo Silva's gone and got an equaliser here. Well, not an equaliser. What am I saying? We're 3-0 up and he goes and scores it, and I somehow think that's an equaliser. Their goals are not worth more than our goals. It is 3-1. City do have a foothold back in. We have shown a tendency to let a lead go. I mean, Kepa probably really should be doing better there, but I don't think Mendy would have done much better if I'm being completely honest. But Bernardo Silva does make it 3-1. There is a chance of Man City. They have battered us, by the way. How they are not ahead, I do not know. They are just doing so much better than we are. Apparently, Erling Haaland should be marked by N'Golo Kante. Their striker should be marked by our defensive midfielder. I mean, it's not the worst shout in the world, actually. It's not the worst shout in the world. But then, their midfield does like to bomb forward, so I like having Kante as that extra bit of support. Right, De Bruyne tries to get it into the midfield. Goes to Justin, actually, and somehow Erling Haaland, it doesn't... What is going on? What is going on? I think... So we've given away a penalty is what's going on, but that looks absolute madness. Right, Kepa. Penalty heroics. Let's do it, shall we? I told you. As soon as Man City got that goal, there's a way back into it for them. I think this is going to be Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland versus Kepa. And Kepa goes the right way, but Erling Haaland is a penalty master and makes it 3-2 on the stroke of half-time. We're going to just encourage the boys. This game is not over yet. Not by a long way. My word. I'm going to tell them that I'm delighted, because I am delighted with the way that we've absolutely dominated them. Thiago Silva, though, he's having a shocker. Absolute shocker. Mason Mount's not really showed up as well. We'll tell him we're not happy either. And let's have a look. Is there anything that we want to do? Apologies. Had a knock at the door. Went to answer it. It was food being delivered. Excellent. I'm making a change at half-time. Koulibaly's coming on. Thiago Silva, I've kind of written him off now. I think he might have even written us off because he's leaving at the end of the season. He's had a terrible season for us. So we're bringing on Koulibaly, who wasn't fully fit, I don't think. Yeah, he's tired, so we'll just bring him on and see what happens. Tempted to bring on Garcia, but he's here for that role rather than this role. So we'll see what happens. We might bring off Cesar Azpilicueta as well because he's having the best game. I'm going to give Mason Mount a little bit of time, because I genuinely think he is a game changer for us if he gets the right moment. He's just not had it yet. So we're going to just do that as a change for now. We'll see what happens as the game goes on. Let's just see what we can do, because Man City are coming back into this game, but we've shown 3 times that we can get at them. Look at the state of the match stats, though. Like, if they don't win this game, they are going to be absolutely fuming, and they should be, because they have been, in the nicest way, the better team. However, we have shown that we can be very potent when we get opportunities. Depay's got to be offside there, surely. Asensio's just gone and scored his hat-trick. I'm convinced Memphis Depay was offside there. He obviously wasn't, but Marco Asensio, I was talking him up before, he's gone and scored a hat-trick in this game. I mean, I suppose the defender down here was probably paying him onside, but what a goal that is from Asensio. Ederson just utterly ruined in this game. Absolutely ruined. And Marco Asensio has gone and given us another chance. And Mason Mount with a deep free kick now. Gets it to Cesar Azpilicueta. Azpilicueta looking to cross it in. But Calvin Phillips gets the tackle in, wins possession back. James Justin now gets it to Gundogan. Gundogan tries to get to Haaland, but Koulibaly does a really good job of cutting it out there. Ball goes back to Kepa, and we start with possession again. We have done really, really well. I know I said that City have dominated us in the match stats, and they have, but we've given a great account of ourselves today. We've shown that we are just more clinical than they are, and which is, you know, if they've got Erling Haaland up front, you would be surprised to find that as a thing. Watch as they go and score a third now. Oh, well, Phil Foden. What a player he is. Nathan Ake now bursting forward. Oh, and Cucurella clears off the line. I thought Bernardo Silva had bullied him into an own goal. Cucurella with a great clearance. It ends up being a great ball, actually. And now we start an attack again. But obviously the game didn't want us to start. But look at that. What a clearance that is from Cucurella. Thank you, sir, for that. Wow. Gundogan now. Out wide to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva going to keep it in play. Nearly runs it out himself, actually. Got two players around him. Gets it through to Erling Haaland, though. Haaland to De Bruyne. De Bruyne. And what a block by Di Lorenzo, who clears it into their half. We are defending well here. But the problem is, I know for a fact we are a goalkeeper. There we go. I was about to say we were a goalkeeping howler away from letting all of that defensive work go undone. Now, if they have scored that, I will give it to them. Kepa could have probably stayed where he was, but he just made a call there. I'm not going to be too harsh on him. It is 4-3. What a game this is for the neutral, by the way. 4-3 to Chelsea with 20 minutes left to go. Foden with a nice little ball here to Bernardo Silva. Wins against Cucurella. Haaland's in. Kepa comes out. He could have done a little bit better, but you know what? I ain't going to criticise him too much there. That wasn't a howler. That was just one of those. You'd expect him to do a bit better. Right, we are going to make some changes. And I think change number one is going to be Mason Mount. We've given him a chance. Conor Gallagher's going to come on. He is nervous, but he'll be fine. Christian Pulisic as well, not had a great game. Raheem Sterling is going to come on against his former club. I think as well, we're going to look at fitness. We're going to bring Trevor Chalobah on for N'Golo Kante. And we've got one more change as well. Di Lorenzo is tiring, so as well as he's played, Reece James is going to come on for him. Let's just do that. Let's see what we can do. They are, one or two of them, nervous. But I'm sure they will be fine. We're going to encourage the boys again. Regardless of what happens in this game. I know we were 3-0 up. But regardless of what happens in this game, they've brought in Julian Alvarez. We can be proud of our performance because we've gone up against a Manchester City team who should be absolutely destroying us. But we've competed, and that's the main thing. We've shown we can compete. Raheem Sterling's in here. And Raheem Sterling, against his former club, makes it Chelsea 5, Manchester City 3. The like of which you have never seen. Depay with the assist. Sterling has been up and down all season. And he goes and does that against his former club after coming on. He's had good moments, Sterling, this season, to be fair. And it's nice to see him have one there against a team that he didn't feel like he was wanted in enough. He's good enough to be the main man at a club in real life, in my opinion. Not necessarily a main starting striker, but the main man, as in the guy who you want to build the team around. Never felt like that at City. Was getting dropped out of the team left, right and centre. It's a shame because Pep absolutely loved having him. I think Pep was a bit devastated to lose him. And, I'll tell you what. Even there, I didn't trust What is Alvarez doing? Calm yourself. Julian, calm yourself. My word. Right. Big ball up. Goes to the Manchester City defence. And now they come forward again. Phil Foden looking to get through. Oh, and it's a huge, huge mistake from the defence. Reece James, who's been so good for us, but he got dropped from the World Cup squad. Didn't go to Qatar. I haven't mentioned who won the World Cup, by the way. I'll mention that at the end of this game. Didn't go to Qatar, and I genuinely think that has affected him, but it's been disallowed for something. It's an offside. Silva is offside here. And it is because of that. It's not the biggest offside in the world, but he is offside. Bernardo Silva has his goal disallowed. What utter madness is this game? I still think there's at least one goal left in it. And Raheem Sterling is looking to make it his. Sterling goes through the defence, and it's a big save from Ederson, and it's going to be a corner. Asensio to take. And he's going to be looking for Koulibaly this time. The bigger lad is on. And also Erling Haaland's not there to mark him anymore. Didn't end up going to Koulibaly, and the highlight ends up ending. But we got another one here. It's whipped in. Koulibaly is there, and Koulibaly makes it 6. What is happening in this game? Manchester City have been so much better than us, but they have just not been good defensively. Memphis Depay's on a 10 rating. I don't know how good Memphis has been today, but he's been very good. He's not got a hat-trick or anything. To be fair, he's got a hat-trick of assists as well as a goal, so he's been very, very... I mean, we've just been exceptional today. Depay's in again! Depay's in again! We have utterly rocked Man City mentally here. They've been the better team, but we have been the more clinical. Their defence has just shut down completely. This happens to me every now and then. Our team will concede a couple, and mentally they're just off it. And we've done it to Man City, and Ederson should hang his head in shame. Wow. I mean, look at the match stats. We've scored 7 from an XG of 2.35. 18 shots, 13 on target. That's the point. They've been so wasteful with their shots. 28, only the 12 on target. They've got an XG of 4.6. You add the XGs of the two teams together, and it still doesn't make the amount of goals that we scored. I'm baffled by that. I'm genuinely baffled. But Asensio and Memphis Depay, the absolute kings of the game. I was going to bring Eric Garcia on. I never did in the end. He'll have to wait for his debut. What a performance that was. Good effort, lads. Very good. Right, World Cup. There you go. England won the World Cup, because of course they did. A 4th minute Phil Foden goal. Memphis Depay, of all people, missing a penalty. But Ben Chilwell was the starting left-back for the World Cup as well. Did good. Every now and then, Raheem Sterling did come on to influence games. He did have a good job doing that as well, actually. Memphis Depay, 2 goals, 3 assists. Utterly ridiculous. So ridiculous, the game didn't even want to load there. Fantastic. Right, I'm going to play the... is it the Everton game? It is the Everton game. I'm going to play the first leg of the semi-final in the Carabao Cup off camera. And then we're going to come back for the Leicester game. We're going to do that because I want to come back for transfer deadline day. And I want to do deadline day and see what we're going to do in terms of transfers. I'm still looking to get Bastoni in. But again, if I could find a goalkeeper for about 30, 40, 50 million, I wouldn't say no. I'll see you in a moment. First leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final has been a success. We won 2-1 against Everton. It did take a late goal from Eric Garcia. We brought him on as a substitute, went and scored from a corner, even though he's only 6 foot. Good effort, Eric. Nicely done. But today's game is going to be in the FA Cup 4th round against Leicester City. And this is going to be the 11 we're going to be using to hopefully get a win and go on to the next round. It's Mendy in goal. James... Eric Garcia, I got confused when I saw Eric then. It's Mendy, James, Garcia, Koulibaly and Cucurella as the defence and goalkeeper. Kante, Havertz and Mount in the midfield with Asensio, Pulisic and Aubameyang up front. I forgot to rest players, so we've just rotated a little bit just to try and help things out. Everyone's got full fitness, just 1 or 2 of them might be a bit tired, but it should be fine. It should be absolutely fine. Hopefully. I can't remember how we've done against Leicester in the league. I would assume we've won, because we've beaten most of the teams we've played. Only Arsenal and Liverpool are teams that have beaten us. Apparently we're not motivated for this whatsoever, which is a bit of a concern. And Leicester are on a bad run of form. James Maddison, interesting to see he's still at Leicester. We did look at signing him at one point, but we ended up going with Asensio instead. Not regretting that decision in the slightest. But he is someone I thought was going to get picked up by another team. Man City at the time were looking at him, so... obviously, that move did not materialise. But we get underway here, and we are hoping to get through to the next round. It would be very nice. It would be nice indeed. We got past Fleetwood, just about. So, that's the only thing. We have games where... we know that we can have games where teams can just put a bunch of goals past us, and we just can't respond anywhere near as well. And the only hope is that we don't get it happening to us until we've scored a bunch of goals first. So hopefully we just end up outscoring the team. That's been our season. It's not been about being a great football team at both ends of the pitch. We have just been a team that just outscores teams. And either someone a good save there from Pulisic. Is it Pulisic or Pulisic? I've heard it both ways. I say Pulisic just naturally. If you know in the comments, let me know if it's Pulisic or Pulisic. I've got a feeling it's Pulisic now I'm saying that, but I'm probably going to keep saying Pulisic. There's no accent above the C, so it probably is just Pulisic. So I might just change how I'm saying it just because. But either way, he did well there, but it didn't lead to anything. So sad times indeed. We are dominating this game, but the longer we dominate without actually getting a goal, the more concerned I will be. Eric Garcia with a nice little header in there. Looked competent and pretty solid so far. But again, he's not going to be a first-choice defender for us. He is in as our backup cover defender. So the second that Fofana is fit again and back in the side, he will be taking Garcia's place. But Garcia will be an adequate replacement should it be needed, and a good rotation option. And Mason Mount just got took out like the trash there. That was an atrocious tackle. Referee's having a chat with the little man in his ear, I would assume. He is indeed. And the decision is, it is going to be no penalty. He literally ploughed through him. Referee! That's atrocious. That's absolutely obscene. And it is half-time, 0-0. I am not happy with that whatsoever. How they got away with that. And make no mistake, they got away with that. I will never know, because that was atrocious. We're just going to tell all of you to step up. I'm going to leave things as they are for the first 10, 15 in-game minutes, and then we'll make some substitutions. Let's just see whether we can push past them. I can't believe that that wasn't a penalty. I know I've already mentioned it. I'm mentioning it again. I can't believe it wasn't a penalty. I'm livid. I'm absolutely livid. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Garcia's not having the best of games, so in fact, he's having a shocking game, so he might make a substitution in a minute. I will let this highlight play out first. Dewsbury Hall now looking for options, gets it through. Reece James covers a little bit there. I mean, I would have expected Eric Garcia to be getting there, but he didn't. But the big ball comes forward. Pulisic looking for it, but couldn't find it. Tielemans now back to Johnny Evans into Ndidi. Ndidi gets bullied by Pulisic. And it goes into Asensio now. CS his name both different times. They're both different ways there. I need to commit to one. Good breakaway there, but we can't make anything of it. I have left things going far too long, so we are going to make some substitutions now. Asensio's not had a good game, so I'll tell you what. Pulisic is going to go to the right. We're going to bring Sterling on the left. We're going to bring Depay on up front as well. We have got 5 substitutions, so we are going to make all 5 of them. Garcia hasn't had a good game. We'll bring Trevor Chalobah on. Actually, how tall is Reece James? 5'9", not a chance. Reece James has had an average game. But it's a bunch of players who have had an average game. I mean, I think we'll take him off because I think we need to send him a little message. Because he was really good in the first half of the season. He's not performed since, though. So I do think he needs a bit of a message just to say you need to step up your game, sunshine. Because he does need to step up his game. Sunshine. Do we bring Conor Gallagher on as well? I don't really want to take Kai Havertz off, but he's not had a good game. So we will do that. Bunch of players rotated through. Let's just see whether we can just push on and get a win. That would be lovely. Big ball into Harvey Barnes. And Harvey Barnes is very unlucky that he's not made it 1-0 to Leicester there. A little bit worried there, not going to lie. But it's fine. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Oh, my word. We cannot get knocked out of the FA Cup, surely. Right, big ball forward looking for Sterling. Can't find him. But the clearance by D'Ambrosio goes to Sterling. Gets it into Mount now. Mount is tackled by Tielemans. Sterling now goes for the worldie. It just crashes against the top of the goal and just goes over high, wide, not very handsome. And we're into the final 10 minutes of this tie now. We have been the better team, but in the nicest possible way, we haven't really threatened them enough. Clearly, we've had the same amount of chances on target as them. Now, is this a replay or does this go to extra time? It is a replay. But it is a replay at home, so that is something. We'll tell them that they're unlucky. I'm a bit disappointed with Eric Garcia there, but to be fair, Leicester are a decent team. Look at Newcastle putting the work in. 8-0 against Wickham. Nicely done. Right, that's all the games for this episode. We are going to do the end of the transfer window, and we do need to have a bit of a decision on what we do with the squad, because we don't actually need anyone. In terms of the players that we've got, we don't actually need necessarily to bring anyone in, but I'm thinking for next season. So if we look at the squad planner, which I've not really used that, for number 1, we're getting rid of Bettinelli. He's going. We could do with another goalkeeper. Central defence, we could do with another central defender because we're not going to have Thiago Silva next season. In fact, I don't know why I'm doing that like this. We might as well put this on. This is a mess. Oh, goodness me. Okay, central defence, they might not be in the right order, but these are the players we have. I don't know if Azpilicueta will be here next season. He might have moved on. Trevor Chalobah is an emergency option only. He is not someone who's going to be first choice. Let's just get that clear right away. This is glitched. I'm hoping someone's put this forward as a bug. If not, I might have to do it because this is definitely very glitched at the moment. But next season, I think we definitely, if you take out Cesar Azpilicueta and Trevor Chalobah, our 3 out-and-out centre-backs, we definitely need one more. Goalkeeper is the big option as well. The other player we desperately need as well is a striker. Although, Romelu Lukaku. I need to say Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku will be back next season, so that might be something we need to think about. Because I've been convinced that we're going to have a striker next year. Now, the only thing is, we look at his contract. How much are they paying? They're paying about half of his wages, so we do need to consider the fact that they're paying that, and they're paying a monthly fee for it as well. So we might move him on just to get rid of some of that money on his wages and get some money in for him. But we do need to consider that. I think midfield at the moment, we're fine. We might try and upgrade one or two of the positions, but I'm actually quite comfortable with what we've got here. So that's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking for right now, we don't need to worry about striker. Don't need to worry about wings. Don't need to worry about midfield. Don't need to worry about fullbacks. We can bring in a centre-back now, or sign a centre-back now for the start of next season. That'd be great. Or we sign a goalkeeper now, or a goalkeeper for next season. So those are the things that I'm thinking on. So I've already got a focus for goalkeeper. We're going to put in a focus for centre-back. I've already done these, but I'm going to do them again because I'm convinced we can get someone. I'd like someone who's a bit better than 3.5 star. Areas I don't really worry about. Age-wise, we're going to go for no older than 28. And we'll see if anything comes up in the next few days. And then when we get to deadline day, I'll let you know if there's been anything that's happened. It is deadline day. I've just clicked on the little thing that ticks us over to this screen. And quite interestingly, a couple of players on here have taken my fancy immediately. And that is Merih Demiral and Nikola Milenkovic. £29.5 million, £35.5 million is the range for both of them. Both are similar age, both are similar ability, both come up as 3-star players. I think they could be good players for us. I would be very interested to bring them in. Very interested indeed. Less interested would be interested in Nicolas Gonzalez. He doesn't really fit in. Pardon me, there's a burp there. Goodness me. But I think one of these two would be great. The only question is, do we bring one of them in now or for next season? Because if we have a look at the squad planner, let's have a look at central defence. We are going to remove Thiago Silva, because he hasn't been good for us this season and he is leaving at the end of the year. So at the moment, those are our 4 central defenders. Now, Cesar Azpilicueta does want to leave. He's also wanted by Real Madrid. I would be willing to let him go if we get decent value for him, because it frees up some wages as well. So I would be willing to do that. And then we can have a look at some youngsters we could bring in for next season, possibly. So if we lose him, all of a sudden, we've only got 3 central defenders, because we're not counting Thiago Silva because he's been terrible. So actually, yeah, we could just bring someone in this year, couldn't we? I think we do that. So, okay, let's go in and do that. Demiral, let's have a look. The reason we're doing this, by the way, is because Bastoni would have cost 100 million up front, plus money on instalments as well. So, we had about that. So, we're going to try and offer in. Now, 29.5 million. They reckon 30 to 35 million. I have already spoken to the agents of both of these players. And they were confident it's in this range. They've given me a range for their wages as well, which we can afford just about. Obviously, if a deal for Azpilicueta comes in, that'll help out as well. So we'll try and lowball it in terms of money up front, and we'll put some money in on instalments. I'll tell you what, we'll go over a little bit. So let's put 15 on the table, £37.5 million. What do we think? I want to sign a replacement first. I'll tell you what. Would you be interested in Cesar Azpilicueta? Apparently, we could only offer a loan until the end of the season. Well, okay. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect them to accept that in the slightest. It depends on whether Azpilicueta will accept that. But there's a deal for Demiral done. Right, let's do the same thing for Nikola Milenkovic. Let's see whether they will want to sign someone in as a replacement as well. We'll go to 22. We'll offer a similar amount. Maybe just a little bit less on the instalments. Let's go down to 10 million. That's kind of in the middle of that, isn't it? So we'll suggest that. Yeah, they want a little bit more. Actually, not much more at all. Okay. Out of those two, I've got to be honest with you, I think I'd prefer Demiral in terms of players, but Milenkovic means that we can actually sell Cesar Azpilicueta. It's very interesting. Right, transfer story's been leaked for Nikola Milenkovic, which is a bit frustrating. Is he wanted by anyone else? I don't know whether he was. He is wanted by someone else. Newcastle and Real Madrid. Well, we might have a bit of a problem there. What about Demiral? Is Demiral wanted by anyone? He's not, so there's a few things that have to happen here. There's a few things that have to happen. So as you can see, between 110 and 135,000 pounds a week, that is what we can afford. Milenkovic, if it's towards the top end, we can't afford it. But we're going to go in for the offers. We're going to go in for Demiral. Wants to be a regular starter. To be fair, it would be between him and Koulibaly, but I do think he would be a regular starter. So can we do the language course? Yeah, we'll give him a language course as well. Fine. 115. Let's just try and lower it, and let's just try and be a little bit cheeky. We'll try and lower this as well. Put the agent fee up a little bit. And Champions League, you can have a lot of money for that, because if we win it, we'll be able to afford it. We'll put that up. We'll give you a goal bonus as well, because you will be a threat from set pieces. So we'll pop you down to 25k as well. Team of the Year bonus, you can have more than that. You can have 500k. I would be okay with that as a deal. What do you say? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, we'll renegotiate with that. And what about 10 goals a season? Let's have a look. Okay. I'll tell you what. You can have 115,000. That has to come down, though. Okay. Depending on how the Azpilicueta side of it goes, Demiral's accepted. Right, let's have a look at Milenkovic. Milenkovic wants to be a regular starter, wants to play as a central defender. I'm not against that. We'll give him a language course as well, because of course we will. Let's have a look. £120,000. Let's try and lower that to here. Let's try and lower this as well. We'll go to 4 because we've given ourselves some wiggle room. We'll put that up to 500k. Appearance fee can be 25. Clean sheet bonus can be 25. We'll even give you a goal bonus as well, because again, you would be the big lad at the far post, at the near post. To be fair, I don't actually think it matters. I think actually, as long as there's a big lad there, it doesn't really matter. But I seem to have more success with the big lad at the near post. We'll give him a goal bonus as well of 10 goals for 500k. Let's see what he says to that. Wants 120k. We'll try and lower it again. We'll put this down to 4.5. I mean, Nikola Milenkovic, to me, is looking like the one. I mean, do we care about this guy? Are you any good? Fine, have him. Right. Let's see what happens with those two transfers, shall we? Remember, Milenkovic one is just money. It's just a contract. But the Demiral one is dependent on Cesar Azpilicueta. And really, I don't know who I want out of the two of them. But we'll accelerate forward and we'll see what comes up. I've just come back because I thought, why don't we just do a comparison between the two? Makes the most sense as we've got this feature. So Milenkovic and Demiral both on here. And as you can see, other than their technicals, which in the nicest way, the only things we're really concerned about is aerial and their defensive ability. On the ball, I'm not so bothered about because they wouldn't be playing as a ball-playing defender, either of them. They're very, very similar. Demiral is the better defender. I don't think there's any question about that. He's better marking. He's better tackling. I think he's positionally actually they're very, very similar. But on the ball, there's a little bit more for Milenkovic. He's a little bit better in the air as well. I think he's taller of the two by an inch. Yes, he is 6'5" to 6'4". Mentally, they're very, very similar. There's a few where one's better than the other. It's very difficult. I mean, work rate wise, Demiral works harder, but not by much. Not by much at all. He's more determined as well, but Milenkovic isn't exactly a slacker. And then physically, they're very similar as well. More pace for Demiral, but Milenkovic certainly isn't slow. He's not quite as strong either, but he's got the same stamina. His natural fitness is a little bit better. He's actually better at jumping as well, so aerially he would make sense. And also his balance is better as well. So it's very difficult. But then, bearing in mind they're both playing in Italy, this is actually a really good comparison because they've not played a similar amount of games. Milenkovic has played more. He's got more goals. He's got a few assists as well, which is kind of mind-blowing. More yellow cards, obviously, but he's got more player of the matches. And actually, stats-wise, he's so much better. Having said that, Demiral, tackle completion ratio is one of the ones he's better at. A defensive stat. He's also got a better pass completion as well. So, all this is a difficult one because they're both very, very good. Again, though, Milenkovic is the one I was leaning towards Demiral beforehand, I'll be honest with you. Milenkovic I'm looking at now and I'm thinking to myself, actually, he's the same amount of money, but he's going to cost less in wages, and we keep Azpilicueta and can possibly sell him to Real Madrid. He's not injury prone as well. I've just seen Demiral's injury prone. We'll accelerate forward. We'll see if anything comes up immediately. I'm just going to stay with you just to see, and then I can just edit things out if it doesn't happen. I've also thrown in a cheeky offer for Koopmeiners. I've never used him before, but he always comes up as a player who just loves to just annoy me. So I've thrown in an offer We'll see what happens. We'll see whether we can actually negotiate a contract, because he wants a lot of money. We'll try and lower this as much as we can. We might not be able to do both of the deals that we want to do, but again, if we get an offer in for Azpilicueta, that will make life a lot easier. But I'm looking at Koopmeiners as someone else who can be in that defensive midfield role, which means Chalobah can be kind of a bit of a half position. Like, he can join the defensive midfield, he can join the defence, he can be a bit of a rotation player. Obviously, it means he won't get as much game time, but he's a homegrown player to have who's an interesting option. So I wouldn't be against it. But also, Koopmeiners can be an emergency central defender as well if we need him to. So I wouldn't be against bringing him in just for that, if I'm honest. But he wants to come in as a squad player. He'd be great rotation for N'Golo Kante. I just don't know whether we can get him in. I also know that we're not the only club that's in for him. So we do have to bear that in mind. We will just try one more time for 95k. Okay, we'll go down to 100k. Okay, got that agreed. Doesn't mean he's coming in, but we'll give it a go anyway. They want to loan in Joel. Hey, Joel? Who's Joel when he's at home? Fine, have him. Take him, get him some experience. That's okay. Right, let's get on. Let's see whether we get any transfers coming in. Right. That's not what we want. Do we care about you? I think we do, actually. I think you're half decent. We'll hang on to you. You're good for the youth team. Well, this is just annoying. Straight away, he wants to join us, but we're still waiting for the other two. I don't know whether we can do this deal, because I think if we do this deal, I really don't know. Oh, this is a problem. I can't adjust this to work out what it will do. I don't know whether, because we've got £40 million here. We don't need £40 million. We need 32.5. So I don't know whether that extra 7.5 million, I don't know if that would make up the wages that we need. So this is a huge gamble if we go for this transfer. But I really think Koopmeiners is someone I've wanted to use for a while. He's a good backup defensive midfielder, because he would be coming in as a defensive midfielder. I want to go for him. But it's a hell of a gamble. Doing it. We're doing it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. If you got potential, you got a little bit. Okay, we'll keep you. Right. We've got Koopmeiners in. I actually think he's going to be a really good signing for us. I know it's one that I wasn't mentioning at the beginning, but I've just kind of gone for. I genuinely think, as players go, he will be solid for us. I'm really, really happy with that as a transfer, actually. Very unexpected. Just saw it on the list. We've snuck in and beaten a couple of other clubs to him as well, which I really, really like. Right, Milenkovic has come back first. That means we're not going to go for Demiral. In the nicest way, I would much rather hang on to Azpilicueta. I'd much rather hang on to Azpilicueta. Done. Transfer, done. Great central defender. I think that's a great option. We'll get Azpi to welcome him in. We'll put him in the squad. And unless Azpi leaves, that's our squad done. We are over our wage budget by a substantial amount. However, that is a transfer that can... That is a transfer that... That is a transfer. I can't get my words out. That is an issue that a transfer for Azpilicueta could solve. Oh, Marco Asensio's out as well. 2 to 3 weeks. I'm not going to worry about him out for 2 to 3 weeks, if I'm being honest with you. We've got 4 wingers. There's a reason why we've got 4 wingers. So I'm not too worried about that. We'll make sure Milenkovic is actually on the bench, because we want him available. We want him ready to go. So put Milenkovic up here. He's going to be the rotation for Koulibaly, remember. I'm really hoping, actually, he can play on the left-hand side. He wants to play on the right. Okay. Well, that's fine. We'll work on that. That's not a problem. Right. Let's see if we get an offer in for Azpilicueta, because I actually think we desperately need one, because one of our things is to work within the wage budget. So if we don't, we might have to offer a player or two out. Players offered by agents. Oh, yeah, we'll just stump up £120 million for João Felix. Yeah, no problem. Not a problem at all. Don't really care about that. You're a youth player. Right. Do we offer out Azpilicueta? Because he's wanted by Real Madrid. And he wants to leave. He actually does want to leave. So I know he's the club captain, but let's just see whether... Because I think he's come to us saying he wants to go home as well, if I remember correctly. I don't know if I've mentioned that to you, but he's mentioned he wants to go home. So let's just offer him out, and let's see whether Real Madrid come in with a cheeky offer for him. I don't even mind if it's a low offer. I'm more thinking about the wages. Looking at the wage bill. Because Azpilicueta, in the nicest way, is 33 years old. He's played well for us this year. I mean, they're not great offers, really, are they? Of course, he wants to go to PSG. You're not going to PSG if that's all they're offering. You're not going to Barcelona either. I'd rather accept the Real Madrid offer. But we'll put you back up for 10 million. Newcastle have come in for him as well. My word. Okay, we've got a bidding war on our hands here. We've got a bidding war on. He's been offered out for £12 million. Real Madrid have come back in for him for £12 million. That'll do. Right, you guys go. We'll go up to 15 on this one. I mean, he's still a hell of a defender. He's still fantastic. We're not getting rid of him because he's terrible. We're getting rid of him because he is going to continue to go down. His natural fitness has kept him relatively good. He is just a bit slow. That's the only problem. It's going to be sad to lose him. However, I do think we need to upgrade the squad, and I think this is one way to do it. Right, I think we've reached the peak of the transfers. £12 million will do. I'm okay with that. Right, Azpilicueta's leaving. Thank you for your service for the club. You are a club legend. But the time has come for you to leave. And that is going to help the finances massively. Kante's not very happy. We'll see if Thiago Silva can do something about it. He probably won't be able to. He has, actually. That's great. So we will need to appoint a new club captain. That is definitely something that's possible. But Cesar Azpilicueta, he's gone. £12 million. And that helps everything fantastically. I mean, we've got a little bit of money left. But we're not going to use it. I think we'll hang on to that amount of money. I think, actually, let's put it all into wages, because we can use that to renegotiate some contracts if we need to. Right, 4 hours left in this window. Let's just get through it. Do we care about this guy going? I don't know if we do. I'm going to hang on to him because he's got 3-star potential. And that is the transfer deadline day done. We have brought in 3 players. I think we've brought in 3 exceptionally good players in the transfer window. Eric Garcia, I think, is going to be a very, very good option for us. But I think the headlines are Milenkovic coming in as the partner to Fofana when we get to that point. Koulibaly is still going to feature, obviously, and as is Eric Garcia. But I think the main 2, when we've got no injuries, are going to be Milenkovic there, Fofana there. I don't know whether perhaps we'll move the sides around a little bit, but both of these guys like to play on the right-hand side. I'm hoping neither of them are overly married to that. We might do it that way. We might change the cover defender there, but I think, I mean, to be fair, Milenkovic could be the cover defender. He's not the quickest, but he can play there, so he could do a job there. But either way, that's going to be our central defensive our central defensive partnership. Get the words out right for the coming season once Fofana is fit again. But for now, obviously he's not in there. It's going to be Eric Garcia alongside either Milenkovic or Koulibaly. We'll keep Koulibaly there for now because obviously Milenkovic has just got here. We want him to settle in properly. But I also think Koopmeiners, as a last-minute transfer that just became available to us, I'm pretty happy with it. He'll slot into the defensive midfield role there. If we need him as another type of midfielder as well, I think he probably could do a box-to-box job. He can. He's not the quickest, but he certainly can do. He's got 13 finishing. He's a good player. He's a very, very good midfielder. But I'm really happy with that business. And I think that's going to do things for today. So we will be back with you for, I mean, it's got to be the Champions League, hasn't it? We're doing really, really well in the Champions League. So we'll come back for 1 Premier League game, 1 Champions League game. Let's say we come back for Aston Villa and the second leg of the Borussia Dortmund round of 16 game as well. I think that makes sense. So we'll come back for those 2. Not my microphone, apparently. And we'll see how we do and see if we can get further on in the Premier League. Remember, we're still top of the table. Just a quick recap of how the table looks. There it is. That win over Man City really helping us out. So let's see if we can maintain that position at the top of the table. And let's see if we can progress by knocking Borussia Dortmund out of the Champions League. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed today's video, please do leave a like on there for me. And subscribe so you never miss any of the lovely Football Manager content coming from the channel soon. I've been Stu, you guys have been awesome, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.